Burning Man! I'm not usually awake this time of day, so it's kind of like being inside a dream where you wake up, oh my God, an actor's nightmare, I'm on stage. But it is my New Year's every year to come here and to have my creativity opened, my ideas open, my habits broken, change myself up before I go back. In fact, like, you ever noticed everything you pack for a Burning Man, by the time you get here, you almost need nothing that you brought. And that's a good lesson. Because what I'm talking to you today about in my few minutes is about breaking habits. You know, we made Who Killed the Electric Car after I had the pleasure of driving an EV1 for 5 years. Just a car, who cares, a car. But really it represented a fundamental change away from the internal combustion engine. So when the usual suspects came in, oil industry advertising, again, car makers didn't want to make something besides the internal combustion engine, we all knew the real culprits. Not just the corporations, but our individual resistance to change. And Burning Man is a place, and TED, where you look at your habits and say, maybe I should think about something differently. Well, at this moment, we are at a very rare place in society where electric cars are back for a moment. Nissan has one, GM has one, Tesla has one, Fisker has one, Toyota's coming back with a plug-in Prius. Plug-in cars are back for a moment. But if no one buys these cars, and I'm not a big consumerist, they'll just go back to business as usual. And it's a little bit like the lesson of Burning Man. If things that happen to me here, if I just put it all back in my bin, then nothing happens. And that probably would have happened with the electric car. But I was at Burning Man one year, and I loved my EV1. And I saw one day out in the mirage, I saw an electric couch coming at me. I went, an electric couch? Couches don't move. But it was moving not because of an internal combustion engine there. It's moving because of electricity. I went, these art cars out here could all be electric one day. And cars in the real world could all be electric one day. And it's not a dream. And here are the major obstacles to that. One is resistance. Nobody really wants change. That's why we get sucked up into the big argument. The big argument against electric cars is, you know them all. It's coal, lithium, what about the batteries? What if I can't go more than 40 miles? What if I can't go more than 100 miles? There are a million arguments against electric cars. But I'm here to tell you there's three basic things to remember. One, we send $1 billion every day out of this country to some other countries. We could keep that money here. Nothing to do with the environment. Let's keep our energy here. Two, coal, environment. Yes, a lot of electricity in the United States comes from coal, but a lot of electricity does not come from coal. And even today, if you drive an electric car or a plug-in hybrid, your car is 50% greener than a car that's running on gasoline. So there's your environmental argument. And if we're all purists about everything, it has to be 100%, we don't get anywhere. The last thing about the electric cars argument is they're really a better car. They're a lot of fun to drive. Now, Burning Man and electric cars came together for me numerous times over the last 12 years between when I first driving electric cars, Who Killed the Electric Car, and Revenge. Elon Musk I met here at Burning Man. Elon is running Tesla Motors right now. He is gambling his whole life, his whole fortune on this company. If no one buys this Model S when it comes out, he goes down. Bob Lutz at GM, probably the biggest, SUV guy in the world, changed GM around and said, we're going to try a plug-in car. If nobody buys this Volt, all the guys that voted against the EV1 in the boardroom 10 years ago will vote him out and his car out. So this goes on and on and on. We have little moments, and if we don't embrace them, nothing happens. So I'm encouraging everybody who's watching this talk to think about, interesting moment in time. Maybe I know someone who can afford a car. Maybe we'll make it a plug-in. And you'll find that just the experience will change your brain, change my brain. You'll start thinking, oh, how can I get this power? How can I get solar from my roof? It becomes a kind of momentum process. And if you don't believe it, I'll conclude my talk with this story. I got a Tesla 5 years ago. It was the most expensive thing I had ever bought. And the Tesla is a sports car. It goes 130 miles an hour or something, very, very fast. And because I'm a Californian, I do what all Californians do. I drove to Malibu. I drove to Malibu, and then I was trying to impress somebody. I drove back to Burbank. I get to Burbank. I go, gosh, there is a police car behind me. And I go, I've been busted. Well, it serves me right because I was definitely speeding at one point. but they must have tracked it and called up, and they must know the BLM. They probably called the BLM, called it, we're going to bust this guy. So I got pulled over in Burbank. And 3 officers got out, and they all came over. They had the guns, the whole thing like this. And I rolled down the window, and the guy goes, is this one of those electric cars? I'm like, it doesn't seem legal to pull you over for asking a question. So this is like some things that happen here. So I got out, and I said, no, it's electric. And the officer says to his 2 buddies, he goes, I told you. So that's it. Little incremental steps, and we get to change the world. Thank you, everybody.